Afternoon, Dazzler. How are you?
Good. How are you? Where was you last week?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just took a break out. Had like a little bit of stuff going on, like personally. So I thought I'd take a little step back from these things. But I'm back. I wouldn't say I'm raring to go. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm excited to speak to you. I'm excited to do this again as well. The viewers have been up in arms as well. Messages, like one message, there was a comment once. There was a there
Did
was
you
a
see?
tweet.
Did you see that them commenting on that person we spoke about the other week ago on his on another failed play spot that made profit? But anyway, let's not get into that again.
Oh yeah, but maybe we're starting the revolution. Maybe us highlighting these
Revolution.
things is giving people the confidence, because that's what I mean about this stuff, right? Anything that we rant about or anybody else rants about, multiple people have thought about it, and sometimes all it takes is someone else to say hashtag me too, that makes you want to go in on them as well, innit? You've got no more energy drink. Do you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking join you. I just said that I'm
Zero
tired, so I'm
sugar
gonna go
though.
in.
Zero sugar.
Right,
Don't drink
so
sugar, kids. Don't drink sugar.
we need to go through a few things. Punting from a perspective, I know you're going to want to touch on that because you smashed the granny out of it on Saturday, so we will let you speak about that. This is essentially the intro in it. We'll do rant. There's a couple of bits in the mailbox. Q&A stuff, because obviously we're not going live this week. I mean, I say obviously, but we're not going live this week. I could pull up last week's video and see if there's any comments in there that people want us to answer, so I'll do that in the midst of letting you talk. But have you got anything you want to rant about? I could
Yes.
get wound. Yeah, I could get wound up about anything at the minute, right? Like literally anything. So I'm going to be as like rantless as I can this week, and I'll just let you lead the floor. But I'm sure something you're going to say is going to piss me off at some point in this video, and something in the email is going to piss me off as well. So you go
I
with it.
did
And I'll
get
button
I did get you all worked up before we started, didn't I? Yeah, I've got a rant this week, right? So I've held this in for 2 weeks now. So yeah, I'm sort of bubbling under a little bit, okay. And I want I want people to know that this is coming from a good place, right? This is coming
it.
from a good place. No, it
Never
is.
is when
It's
it
not. I
starts off
don't
like
want
this.
people thinking that it's coming from an arrogant place or it's coming from a you think you've made it sort of play. I don't want people to think that because that's not what this is, right? But there's a guy on Twitter, yeah. Lots of people would have seen him. I won't mention no names. I'll try and make it obvious who he is. But he put a post up, and this is the second time he's put a post up of similar nature to this, right? Put a post up saying, "Oh, I'm doing so much hard work. I'm so fed up of being like ignored, like almost acting like he's being overlooked for a sort of a job in the racing industry, right? Or whatever the racing university or whatever it is, right? This is the second time within probably a year he's put a post up like this, right? It's an attention seeking,
I know them.
yeah, and an attention seeking sort of feel sorry for me post, right? And it's pissing me off, right? Because the guy's been around for a couple of years, like doing bits of Twitter content, etc. You know, that's great. Continue putting content out, but you've been around a couple of years. Like it takes fucking years and years of work to try and get into any sort of position in any job in any industry, but particularly horse racing, which is a niche sport, right? It's fucking difficult. Like it's really difficult. Like, and it really pisses me off that people have this entitlement because they've done a few interviews and a few bits of Twitter content and stuff like that they deserve to be given an opportunity. There are so many people that would break their arm to be in this industry, right? That are working harder than this person, right? And to put a sort of tweet out to blame everybody else or to, you know, put it on other people rather than putting it on yourself, right? It just really winds me up because that's the reason why people like that will not do well because they're putting out feel sorry for themselves statuses, which drives me insane, right? For example, when I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Do you know what I mean? I'm grinding every day, still trying to get to where I want to be. But I had an interview with the Racing Post when I very first started, right? It was a branch off the Racing Post. It was like racing.com or something, right? I sat there face to face, like I'm face to face with you. And the geezer told me I did not have a clue what I was talking about. He told me I didn't have a clue what I was talking about. I sent him a piece of writing for an interview, and he told me it was rubbish. Like the writing is terrible. You don't know what you're on about. You're nowhere near what's required for. I got told that was in like my first 6 months, yeah. And then like a year later, like I had so many no's. I was emailing everyone to try and get into the industry, like to try and get anything. You know, I ended up writing an article on the sportsman.com for like a tenner, right? It was just like a crappy article that no one would ever read. I went back and read that. Like it is terrible. The guy at the Racing Post or the Racing.com was absolutely right. I was nowhere near like, you know, ready to sort of write for anybody or do anything. I then get to like sort of Odds Checker or the Racing Paper, then Odds Checker, and then get boot, like the Racing Paper closes down, the Odds Checker boot me out. Like there is so many times where you have to sort of get back up and fight and keep trying to grind and keep trying to do everything again and again and again and go through so much adversity to get in any line of work to get where you want to go, right? So that's why I've been through all that. Everybody in this industry, you look at like Racing Joshua is a good example of this, right? So he went to the Racing Post. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm sure he'll tell us, but he went to the Racing Post. It didn't quite work out for him. He had to bounce back, you know, and a lot of people would not bounce back from that because that is the biggest platform in racing. And look at him now, he's thriving because he's got that work ethic. He's got that drive and he's not sitting there putting out statuses. I wasn't sitting there putting out statuses on Twitter saying, oh, I feel sorry for me because, you know, no one wants me or I can't do this. It's absolute bollocks. It drives me insane because you have to just grind like this. You've been doing this 2 years and you're already putting out these sort of posts, right? Trust me, like this is not even the hard part. The hard part is when you get kicked off a platform that you've strove to work for, or you go 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you're still not there, but you still got to keep working. I'm still grinding bloody 16 hours a day, like every single day to try and, you know, progress and be where I want to be. So statuses and posts like that, which are attention seeking and I don't know what the word is, but it just pisses me off. Like you can't just be expectant. You have to fucking work hard.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are not willing to do it, but moan that they're not where they want to be. There's nobody else to blame but yourself.
Nope.
God, thank God I got that out this week.
No, that's good, man. It's a big thing as well because it is like a life lesson.
And sorry, Dave. This is not a dig at the guy. This is a dig at the mentality like of what that post shows. You know what I mean? It's not dig at the guy. Great, he's doing great work. Like keep producing, keep working hard, keep doing it. But it's that mentality of that post that pisses me off with people. You know?
Yeah, massively. And that's the thing of it. Like it's a thing in life, isn't it? If you want something hard enough, you will get it. If you don't get it, it's okay. Like you maybe just don't want it enough. Like with whatever it is, but it's there when people start blaming external factors. Like it's too easy to do that. And like you say, with the amount of time and effort you've really got to put into something, you're not the person that gets to decide whether you've done enough yet. You haven't done enough until you get to where you want to be, have you? It's like there's an image of it where someone's digging for diamonds and they're going through this big tunnel in the ground, right? And they get so far across and the diamond's like just there. So if he'd have carried on digging for another week, he might have got the diamond.
Yeah.
But he turns around and walks back. And then you see the other guy underneath that carried on digging and finally fucking got there. Like, you don't know, how close you are, do you, to an opportunity?
Exactly. There's a saying that if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds stupid because none of us have got any hair, have we? But it's true. Like, you just have to keep grinding and keep going. Like, you're never going to succeed if you quit, are you? You know, what's the option? What are the options? Let's quit. And you won't get to where you're going. You might as well just carry on, keep driving. But again, it's just that mentality that some people seem to have of entitlement, and especially after such a short space of time of doing anything. Like, Christ, man, it just really wound me up. And I've saved this in for 2 weeks. I'm so proud of myself, Dave.
Well done, mate.
I did write on Twitter.
When you're talking about the racing posting as well, it reminds me of, because I'm conscious of like time this week because I've got us on a 40-minute berth because I've not gone for the paid account today. But it was very much when you were starting out, right? So when I talk about when you were starting out, like we start getting talking stuff, that's when you were doing your racing paper, you were getting into stuff, you were trying to get into the columns and do all those types of things. So as far as I was concerned for myself, like you're in the industry, right? You've got some level of platform of doing something. So you've started on the peg up, but we were trying to sort out a preview evening, weren't we? So I said to you, I fancy doing one. Do you want to get involved? So we'll do that. We'll see if we get some like people involved and that sort of stuff. We reached out to someone that said there was a tweet or a company that do it, and they said that they were like, arranging for, if you're doing a preview night, we will sponsor it. We would arrange for like someone to be on there, all this sort of stuff. You just tell us like the venue and like your stuff. We'll sort the panel out and all that sort of stuff. And I remember getting in touch with them, and then they phoned for a phone call. And then I said, like, I appreciate, like, I've got X amount of experience. You can go look at YouTube videos. I send you loads of content, things that I've done, but like relatively know what I'm talking about. But I appreciate that I am quite new into it. Then they were saying, who else is going on the panel? And then I mentioned your name and talked about some of the stuff you've done. And he was just like, yeah, no, like didn't look at the stuff that I'd sent over me or you. And at the end of the day, like, it didn't matter. It was just one of them, just like, oh well, they didn't want it. That's like their sort of loss. But the funny thing is about the company that was for, I remember, or you'll know it is as well. But like, you've been approached by them on multiple occasions to do stuff for them, and they literally at the time, if they'd have realized, like, if they'd have just looked or realized what it was, they could have been the ones that like got involved, couldn't they? So there is like a tiny bit on like. The companies know best, don't they? Like they'll know who someone's on the edge of it. But it is just that, like, if the person's going to be successful, they'll be like successful in spite of the challenges they face, as opposed to someone gives you an opportunity and that's the reason you make it. It's not that, like you say, you can be given an opportunity, you'd be fucking kicked out, can't you? You have to.
Yeah, like I know so many people in the industry. Like, not to brag, but I know so many people that I have never ever asked. I've never asked any of them, and I pride myself a little bit on it. I've never asked any of them for anything, for like never, and in nothing, never, because you gotta make it on your own. But yeah, that was this week's rant anyway, Dave. That was this week's
decent.
Rant.
We've got an old stale voice note. You able to do it?
Oh, stale voice note.
This is a good one. I like the start of it as well. It's something along the lines of like long time listener, first time caller in it, or something like that. First time ranter.
I'll play it. You're gonna have to bleep out some names, I think. Oh, I've done it again, look, haven't I? I haven't pressed download.
We need to.
It's coming now. It's coming now.
One of these weeks, I'm just going to make it that porn noise thing.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, download failed, Dave. We might not have this.
All right. Well, I'll go for a question. You see if you can sort yourself out. I haven't looked at the emails, to be fair to you. DJ Lane, what's going on, fellas? Love the podcast. Cheers, mate. One thing that pisses me right off, that's the way to get these rants in, right? Fucking get it out there.
Attention
is when you're
grabbing, that is.
When you're in a bookie sale early morning, right? You have a 5 weeks burn a horse running in Val. The race is on the big screen, so everyone who's in the bookie sees the race, sees wins and his place. You have to wait like 5 minutes for the result to come through on the little computer that the bookmaker has on the desk. Like, I can't understand that. You've just watched it, you've heard the commentary, pay me the money. And also, one last quick one. How long do you think high street bookmakers got left until we see most shut down? Mostly 80% of people using them are old aged people. Yeah, mate, like I used to work in a betting shop. I used to love the South African and all that sort of stuff. It's because they don't, I'm pretty sure it's probably still the same now. It's because they don't play first past the post, is it? So they have to wait for them to weigh in and things. But yeah, like it is definitely annoying.
Like, how desperate though are you? Like, how desperately do you need that money? You can't wait for like 2 minutes.
No, I know, but it's like the modern day thing, isn't it? Like, you do think from like a technology perspective, but I reckon that's it. I reckon it maybe is just that, because obviously the UK racing and stuff comes through first past the post, a bit of that. But that's normally the reason for it. But like, it is sometimes annoying, because I know he said it's there the 5 minutes. There are times when you're sat there, especially if you are just like a Saturday morning punter, you've taken your 20 quid, that's all you've got to bet with. I've been in that position when I was a teenager before.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, if the next race is going off in a minute. Actually, I've been in that position before. The next race is going off in 5 minutes, you've got no money left, and you're thinking, come on, just pay me out my 18 quid so I can get next bet on.
So that's the sad thing, though. Like, the way that the world is going, right? Like he's saying that 80% of them are just old people. He hasn't said it quite like that, but they are. Again, when I used to work in the betting shop, there was a group of lads, right? They were my favourite people in the world. Their missus would go and do like a bit of shopping or something in the morning, this little high street. They'd come in at like 10:30, come into the front, because we used to give free hot drinks away, a cup of coffee, like knew what drinks they were. You'd see them come in, I'd get their drinks on the side for them. There's a little table to the left. They'd be sat with their racing post. They get their little betting slips out. They put like a 10p lucky 15 on. And then they'd look over at me and just give me like the little nod. And I used to stick on, because we had Sky Sports, and I used to stick on Aussie aerobics for them. And they used to come in every
not expect
day.
This story to take that turn.
Every day just to watch Aussie aerobics. They'd sit in there, they'd go to their wife and be like, yeah, we should stop my little bet on. No, we've got a good chance. They were there with their feet on the table drinking a hot chocolate watching it. But like, it was just like a little lads club thing. And it's nice for like the old generation stuff, isn't it? The older generation of people like us, unfortunately, are going to be not sat in betting shops, not sat in pubs with any sort of social contact. We will be sat on Twitter and places like that, reading shit that's a load of bollocks, all toxic stuff. And rather than being in a pub waiting for someone to have a conversation with you, you go and find something to be pissed off about on Twitter, or you find someone to have an argument with. Fucked up in it. They need to do something with it. In like the fund and all that stuff, people moan about like betting affordability and the betting industry and all that sort of stuff's going to go. There should be a chunk of money that's put out there for people that want to go racing, but maybe it's not the primary reasons betting. Like they do it for like a social aspect. Whatever it is, like a betting shop's going to be gone at some point. They need to create some sort of little old man's working man's club so we can be in there ranting and racing until we're in our 80s.
Very, very true.
Voice note working?
No, we lost it. No good. I think it's expired.
Good one as well. Well, I'll see if we can sort that out for next time. How quickly we go on this one? Michael Walker, evening, gents. I don't know if it's this one or the next guy. Someone moaned at me yesterday saying I was a fraud, but that was good. Firstly, loving these 1 hour long videos. This one won't be. This week's rant. I listen to a lot of content and podcasts as I work nights. Helps pass the time. Awesome. Starting to annoy me when I'm hearing certain races are rubbish and they're weak renewals just because there's no real short price favourite. That's massively fair. Isn't this what we want in racing fans where there's 4, 5, 6 horses near the top of the market, solid chances, bigger price field? So unless Mullins has got a 4 to 5 shot in every 5 winner race, people dismiss the races as shit. Personally, they prefer those types of races because you have a challenge to study, find out more, paying your home weight rather than having 200 quid on the Mullins favourite and just to say, oh, it's a Mullins horse, it wins. Fair point, though, isn't it?
Well, there's a difference, though, between a weak renewal and a competitive betting race. Yeah. So a weak renewal will often be a competitive betting race, but a competitive betting race is not always a weak renewal. Does that make sense? So there are ways of sort of...
Mares and Stayers, I reckon, are the perfect 2 this year.
Yeah, good example. Very good example. Like the Stayers hurdle at the start of the year looked like a very, very weak renewal. Now you could probably argue that it's competitive and probably not the strongest. Probably not the strongest renewal, but it's at least competitive. Do you know what I mean?
Still weak race, isn't it? That'll be the type of one that comes up on these podcasts, I think, wouldn't it? It's weak. It's weak as shit. Blazing Carl's dog shit. He's not even going to place.
I'll tell you now, he will piss up, Dave. I can't believe we butted so much on this. Like, who? Let's just stop it. Like, who do you think beats him? Don't say Classical Dream. Who?
I don't know. It is like this is the classic one of it. Like, it is a weak renewal. Whatever wins it is of no note to me. Like, even if someone went and won it by like a half decent distance, then I know it gets different. But like Blazing Colt, I just don't think that good. He's never really achieved anything. Jumps like a twat. He's one of those awkward horses. The same as like when everyone was saying, "Oh, he's a lovely fine stamp of a horse, that Hillcrest." Oh, out for the rest of the season because he's too fucking big.
You hate that horse.
But there's just certain horse when you look at him. And again, this isn't to say I've got it right. Like, he could be the very good horse, but you know when you see the difference between like there's a proper racehorse in a race. And you're like, they are head and above. Like when Thistlecrack used to race, had the big mane, all that sort of stuff, like looks like an absolute weapon. But then you get someone like West Approach that looks, if you put him and Thistlecrack next to each other, they'd be very similar looking horses. The West Approach just isn't that good. Blazing Cow is one of them, I think. He's
but you're doing exactly what this guy is ranting about. You're doing exactly that though, because there isn't a short price favourite in here. You're now saying it's a load of crap, but it's not.
No,
I don't think it is. We've got unexposed horses. Just because it's more difficult to find the winner, Dave, doesn't mean it's a crap renewal.
Well, we'll look at we'll see the race imposed rating that the horse that wins it this year achieved compared to previous years, and I reckon it will be a shit race. But we'll find out after, won't we?
We will when Blazing Gale wins. Yeah.
We've proved his point there that I want a Willie Mullins 4 to 5 plate to do it in there. The mares, on the other hand, I don't think anyone will be saying it's a weak renewal, but like the mares for like a competitive betting heat and the depth you can get stuck into there, that's an insane race. The thing I'll say with the Stayers hurdle, come touch on the mares in there. Marie's Rock goes there. She absolutely shits home, like by miles.
What, in the Stayers hurdle? And a horse that's never run over 3 miles before.
She shits home.
See, this is where you're fucking mental. Like,
I know, but we'll see. We'll save that. We'll save that for another time. We're going to go into a massive.
You bumped her head again for a second time.
Oh, fucking hell! Right, this is a real long one. I don't even know if I can be asked to go through it because this is the guy that said that we're takeout merchants because we didn't do a video last week. We are in the bookie pockets, aren't we? Actually, speaking of this, I'm going to pop a link up on the screen. If you can subscribe and give me your bank account details every time you put a bet on, that'd be great. We don't do that. I know it comes through a payment. Everyone gets fucking paid off the back, don't they? I watch racing podcasts and hear the presenters bemoan about restrictions. So it's the way that you people on these podcasts are frightened to speak out on the subject in case you don't get the work of the bookies. Oh yes, we are in their pockets. Who else annoys some of these podcast bookies on the podcast? Trying to make a smiling face, your bookie's friend when it comes to all that sort of stuff. There's a video on YouTube of one of their top testers, Tom Cigar, how he tells pick a tip on a race. His reply is scandalous. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll touch on that then quick. I'll put this to bed then. Yeah. So I had a bet on Saturday night, 300 quid bet on Tommy Fury to draw no bet to beat Jake Paul. Right. I opened a Fitzdares account. Deposited 300 quid. Put the one bet on the boxing match, which is like it's not even like you could really have any sort of edge on that match, you know. So it was a boxing match, 2 outcomes or 3 outcomes, and 300 quid on it. I get an email 20 minutes later saying we've now limited your account to a deposit limit of £400 a month. This is not based on net losses, but based on previous deposits. So immediately, the matter, they don't even know me. They don't even know what I've literally bet on one event, boxing event, a popular event, and they've limited the account immediately. Like that's shocking. That is shocking to do that. Like that. So what? Don't even open a bookmakers. Do you know what I mean? Don't open a bookmakers because it's getting to the point with some of them that they're picking and choosing the customers that they want to, or the losing customers perhaps that they want to exploit essentially. But Fitzdares, I will never have another bet of him. Never. No.
Yeah, there's tons of ones like that in there. The thing is, like, as much as it is a recent thing now, and it is massively amped up now, it's always been a thing. Like, you set up an account and they'll boom you off. My favourite thing at the minute with the bookies is Sky Bet. Do you remember it used to be £20 money back if it loses? Then it's money back second, third, or fourth, and now it's £2 in it. And like the best part of it is like top fucking trolling in it because fuck you, like stick your £2 up your ass. Like just don't give me the money back, but don't put it down like it's a bloody concession. And the worst part is because it's a concession, they'll swipe fucking best odds, wouldn't they? That's my biggest bugbear, right, with Sky Bet. And like 2 of my mates, right, recently have had a decent sized bet on something for them. So they've had like 25 quid on a horse. One of them for him would be like a £1 punt. Had a fiver on a horse, right? He had it wasn't 25 each way, right? So he had £25 on a horse, and the other bet he had was a fiver. They're like big bets for him. He fancied a horse. One of them was a bit of information that he apparently got given. Didn't share it on us. What a nice guy. But he's backed him with Sky Bet because he's a punter. He's got a Sky Bet account. Bets with him. He likes the free bets to put up for Cheltenham. He's just their sort of person, right? He's a regular Joe punter with them. So he bet in these races, and they happen to be extended place races. He's backed them win only, and because it's an extended place race, they don't give you best odds guarantee, do they?
No.
But he's not taking advantage of the concession because he's backing win only. So that, like, genuinely, and I know, like, this is where I say that there should be some sort of some sort of proper like conduct authority that looks at stuff like that and just says you're fucking taking the piss out of win only punters on that market. I know it's their choice to bet. But if you're someone like him and you've just got a betting account with 200 quid in there that you do your pounds up and down or whatever. It's automation stuff now. You just have it set up. If it's win only and there's no concession being taken advantage of, give them the regular stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting though because it is very much on an individual basis. I know someone in the industry, and I've seen on the race course. He showed me his profit and loss on the Sky Bet account. He was 40 grand up on the Sky Bet account, no restrictions. Whereas a lot of other people will be 2 grand down and be restricted.
Marked account though, isn't it?
Well,
that's what they do because William Hill.
Maybe.
I know a guy that worked in William Hill for a long while ago, and this will sound like I'm being Barry Big Spuds, but he knew someone in the department that checked stuff, and my William Hill account was a marked account, and about a month later I got an email saying that I wasn't welcome to bet at William Hill anymore. But there was a mad one with that as well. Because when I used to do the Facebook write-ups, there was an Irish race, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a horse and a bumper, like just a very well-known like bumper horse further down the line. Don't even know what it was. Someone like Fury Red or something like that. But it was like, so it's not even that many years ago. Opened 6-4, and that was when I was toying about my automation stuff. So I have like an alert that tells me when markets price up. I was using that one. I was on there when it was on there, and literally I was like setting up to set we'll just look at it, and the price just came up when I was there. I had it already added to the bet slip because I was trying to test out doing stuff like that. I put £25 on it, right? I swear to you on my life, like literally it opened, I put £25 on it, went into 1 to 2, and like within, like it was 6-4 or even money or something, but the price just changed. but it was off the back of my bet. I have no doubt in my mind. I put a bet on, it was done. And not to say it was my account, maybe it was just a time thing. They saw it went in so quick, someone did something or whatever. But they've got these things that are just put in there as like a check that they've just moved prices based on whatever the fuck they want to call it. It's bad. In the good old days, like when not saying people want to have a coup or something, but they'd stand a bet. If you put a price up and you make a mistake,
I'm a big believer of that. I'm a big believer of if you put a price up, you take a bet, don't you? But listen, we could talk about this all day, really, couldn't we? But
yeah. And at the end of the day, please still pay our mortgages, bookmakers, because that's clearly what you're doing. It. Couple other bits that come up in there, which, well, again, from a time perspective, I don't know how much we can get into this. So apologies to people that have done these, but we will do a better one next week. We'll go live or something. Adrian wanted to know what we thought of Shishkin. Ryanair looks the right race for him. Yeah, I should just win the Ryanair, shouldn't you? Don't you say to what we're doing? Win.
Brilliant performance. Hopefully, he can just turn it around in 3 weeks' time. Should be very little competition for him, really. I think.
That was a race. If we were going to like loosely touch on betting, that I laid Fakir Doudry in the anti-post market because he was 5-4, and Shishkin was always going to go. Pick Dory was always going to go, and I thought in the race like maybe you could make case to be like 2-1 co-favourites to 3 or something like that. But like he was a terrible price. But even if you look at the 2 for gold form from last year, it was dog shit. And there was a comment a while back, wasn't there, when I said about Fakir Doudry being a grade 1.5 horse. And I got like a few pelters in the comments saying that's really disrespectful of a horse to say those things. I get what people are saying because he has won some grade 1s, but the grade 1s that he's won are shit. Like we know this at the level of horse racing, like the standard, the top tier stuff, dog shit in it. So he was a shocking price. But in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. But that when I was laying him, Shishkin was 9-2 as well. Like I had a little bit on Shishkin. So the way I set the market up, I was in like quite a good position. But you can never be confident when a horse has had issues, can you? And then Scott Burgess is saying about the rant whip ban, which is one we'll probably do next week because there'll be even more in there. But he was saying when he sent this was 5 days ago, saying that 20 jockeys have been banned already. So I think maybe in the first couple of days or something. Well, this made me laugh, right? And I mean, I could name names if I even knew who the fuck he was, but a jockey got banned, and it says I can't remember it was right. It made me actually lol. It made me laugh out loud. I don't know who it was, right? And I don't want to just pick a shit jockey's name out because then it is like plagiarism. But
don't name anyone.
Let's just I can't think of it is, but we all know, right? So that, there's jockeys at Cheltenham, like how much of a snob I am with trainers and all that sort of stuff when it comes to it. It was a jockey, right? But I don't even think he's had a ride at Cheltenham for like the last 15 years. And then it was like whip ban ruined so and so's Cheltenham, but sees him out for 2 weeks. So I was like, he wouldn't even be going. Like
it's just a fitting headline, though, isn't it? Right, Cheltenham in any headline.
But that's exactly it. They just shoehorn Cheltenham into the back of it, and that's our racing paper and stuff as well that want people to see this stuff that's going on about it.
We'll touch on that next week. There's lots to get on that. We'll touch on that next week, shall we?
Right, so from a betting perspective, I don't feel like we need to do anything because we could, but you did all right for Saturday, didn't you? Across the sort of the week, you've been all right, do you reckon?
Oh no, last week just kept it very, very light because like the midweek action these last couple of weeks I've just found has been very, 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 very difficult. It's been awful, really awful racing. So I've just been keeping it very, very light in the hope that something was going to turn up on Saturday. And I kicked myself a little bit because I should have had a bit more on Nursery. I had 145 on Nursery. I should have had a bit more because I really like that horse. Thankfully a few others went in though. Our Power, Rubo, and who's the other one? There's another one, wasn't there? Solo's good front running ride from Harry Compton. Literally given a solo out in front. I thought that race was interesting because a lot of people were saying, I had this comment on Twitter saying just back the best horse in the race, stop trying to be too clever. And I thought, well, Boover Hill is not proven over 2.5 miles. I thought that's all right. Gino, I thought had a big chance, and I've liked him for the season, but I just felt that going back right-handed, he jumped out to his left in a Tolworth, and the fences come a little bit too quick for him. His jumping's not been the best this season so far. I thought that Solo would probably get a freebie on the front end, and he did. Thankfully, that's all right, Gino. By the way, you should just keep an eye on him. Like I really fancy So Scottish for the plate. Like I think this is a good thing for the plate for Emmett Mullins, right? But that's all right. Gino's a decent each way bet if he goes in that. He's a novice. They tend to do well in the race. He ran well behind Stage Star. When not really getting a strong enough pace, he'll get the championship pace at Cheltenham, which will really suit him. His jumping's improved. It definitely improved at Kempton last time. He's well handicapped. So he could definitely run into a place. You've got to get five places on the day in that particular race. So he could run into a place, that's all right, Gino. I'd keep an eye on him. But yeah, good sort of weekend. Ended with I backed that Ballo Jack as well. He was an underdog Saturday night on the undercard of Fury card. I backed it. Fury as well. I had 300 Fury.
Stop the after time with that bloody box, and you love it, didn't you? You told
me.
To
be fair, I didn't after time. I did tweet saying
that you can
double your money on a boxer fighting a YouTuber tonight. Welcome to 2023. So
I kept looking at it because I saw a few people saying that, and then I think he was when I looked after you tweeted, I think he was 2.66 or 2.6 in his changes, and when I'd looked maybe a few days earlier, he was like 2.2. So it made me a little bit uneasy. With stuff like that, because I've got no idea on it, right? So I'm happy to back someone else's opinion on it. But I think a lot of people would like reading into it too much when a lot of people were saying it's fixed or it could be a dodgy result and that sort of stuff. And people ain't fixing stuff, are they? They've got that, especially for the guy that Jake Paul's got enough money, he doesn't need to be fixing fights. But anywho, with the betting stuff,
yes.
I did unfortunately bet on Saturday, right? And I say unfortunately bet on Saturday. Like I say, because I've had stuff going on, right? Not in the right place to be like seriously like thinking about stuff as it is anyway. When it comes to like a betting perspective, you've got to recognize when you're in like a bad spot because like punting is like like potentially a bad place to be with stuff because it can affect your mood as well and stuff if you get stuff wrong. So I wanted to pay attention to the race, like a bit of a distraction. I want to keep an eye on it as well for stuff going forward. I like Solo. I liked his Adonis run, and I put it in the GG column that I wrote for the anti-post stuff that. Like he'll be the biggest danger to Boot Hill. And I don't like Boot Hill getting beat by Tommy's Oscar. I'm not that keen on That's All Right Gino, but I see what you're saying for like being like a well-handicapped horse. But I thought Solo might win. Was trying to be smart. I was like, if I'm gonna have a bet, I want to get in at the right price. He wasn't the right price, so I didn't back him. Then because of that, I was just like looking at some other stuff that was in there as well. Then I saw fucking Kemboy was in that race, and I was looking at the bet, and I was like, how is he not like shorter than he should be?
Yeah.
So again, did the classic punter thing. No, show some discipline. Don't have a bet. Didn't back him. He goes and wins. And then I just had like a little bit of a wobble that day. And I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to have a bet and just like 100 quid on that Henderson, like supposedly well handicapped horse because it was a short price favourite. And he was dog shit from the start. I think he pulled up, maybe clattered some or something. So I did something I haven't done in a long while, but I just had one of those sort of just like stupid bets. And it just came out of fucking stupid, like, it was just stupid, but here's what it is.
Do you have anything on Sunday?
No, I was going to have a look, but I
had a few bets over.
I decided not to.
I had a few bets over in Ireland that absolutely went to shit. But I sat there for the afternoon. Whenever Hereford's on, I love it, David. Look, I just sit there and I just punt and running on Hereford all the time because front runners have just such a huge advantage around a tight track like Hereford.
Oh, who was the one that there was one that won that was favourite the night before? It went off at 9-2. It beat a JP horse.
Oh, was that Innes Free Lad?
Yeah, because me and my dad were watching it, and my dad was like, "This is going to piss home," and I had Betfair open because he said it, and I was like, "It's 5-4 if you want to back it," and he was just like, "Well, it just pisses home, didn't it?" I was like, "It's still 5-4," and then we like did it for like a few fences, but yeah, that like an in running one there, like that was a stupid price when anyone watching it would think it's going to win, wouldn't they?
Yeah, all afternoon I just sat there, I was just punting these front runners from about halfway around the track, and they were just winning and winning and winning. The one I did punt as well that got caught was the that Winds of Fire, Adam Wedge Road. God, and he just eased into him coming down to the last. I hate it when jockeys just do that. I want them to throw him at the final. Do you know when they're just narrowly ahead and they just they try and find the stride. They sit up on the stand and just ease into it, and then they clip the top, don't they? And the other one just comes by the side of it. He's got to pick up again. Oh, it infuriated me. Infuriated me.
That's why I love, because I've always admired the way that David Bass will get over the one side to the other on the fence. I always feel like he's just fearless throwing a horse into it. And when I was at Graham McPherson's yard, I was speaking to a lad about it. We were talking about chucking horses at fences. And I was speaking to one of the lads that was doing some schooling, and the guy that was there that was doing some videoing said it's funny you should talk about Bassey, because I asked him the same thing, why does he look so good over a fence? And he literally said, I hate it. I'm borderline shit scared. I just want to get over as quickly as possible.
Quality.
But that's sometimes it, isn't it? Like, simplicity is key in it. Don't overthink it. Just get from one side to the other. Exactly. So we are coming into Cheltenham very soon, right? We've only got a couple of minutes to be left on this recording. I'm doing extra bits of content. I'm looking at things. Obviously, we've had the handicaps that have come out, right? And I should be getting stuck into those to try and sort myself out, because the weights will be unveiled in the next couple of days. So I'm going to give that some attention this evening. I don't know if there's anything in that front that you may have already pulled out, but again, because time is short, One thing I will say is I thought about this maybe like October, November time, right? About, the ground's been dry.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what if it's like stays dry? Because when we had the November meeting and the clerk of the course, like we used to have it when Simon Clace used to be there, it would always be good to soft dry. And I know they can call it whatever they want to call it, but there would always be like some nice cut in the ground. It was all right, wasn't it? And there might be days when it gets to the Friday where it's maybe classed as good ground, or the Thursday races, but like it's nice racing ground to go on. I'm personally like a little bit apprehensive about this year for the Cheltenham Festival in terms of the fact that it might end up just being like a good ground festival. Is the ground at any point making any sort of like thought in your head, or are you still of like the mindset of the good horses just win on anything?
Good horses should win on anything as long as they're running over the right trip, is my opinion. Wouldn't bother me in the slightest, to be honest. I'm not a massive fan of this measuring the blades of grass and all that crap. I like that. I think that's overthinking. I think you can put yourself off horses when doing that. Just focus on the horses, the right horses in the right races, and then what will be, won't it? But you can't really worry about the ground until the day. You know what I mean? If you can get yourself in and out of positions if you need to, if it turns like a bog like it did last year, like that would be slightly different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it went that way, soft, heavy ground, I'd be concerned as opposed to whether it quickened up more. So
it's because I know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Because like
I have a deluge, I suspect.
Everyone's going to be like, so and so loves good ground. I'm beaten on good ground. It's going to win at Cheltenham. All of a sudden, people will say it's got a massively inflated chance because of the ground. But then all of a sudden, they seem to discount everyone else. They're upgrading the rating of a good ground horse, but they're not moving everyone else up on the same pedestal, are they?
100%. The other thing you will hear, just before we finish, the other thing you will hear in the next couple of weeks of these preview circuits is that, he's too short in the market. He's too, he's a favourite. Who cares? Don't worry about bloody value on those 4 days. You're not betting for value over 4 days. You're betting for value over 4 months or 4 years. Those 4 days, please do not put yourself off because a horse is 11 to 10 that should be 2 to 1 or whatever. Just that it doesn't matter for those 4 days.
I agree. I got stuck into Allo a couple of years ago when I missed a bit of a price on him and then backed him on the day. And it was one of them where I would have killed myself or proper kicked myself if I hadn't have had a few quid on him just because the price was too short in my like stubborn little mind. But appreciate the chat, mate. We'll catch up next week. We'll get back to like regular ishiness and it'll be Cheltenham before we know it, won't it?
Cheers, boy.
Right, cheers, mate.